Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 133. That is 133. I'm right on there. I don't even have to ask. Presented by Parse Rum. I love Parse. You love Parse. I don't know if you guys know this, because we've never said it on this podcast before, but when you drink a bottle of Parse Rum, you then plant a tree in Colombia.
I've heard that. I didn't know if it was true. I was waiting to confirm.
Yeah, we've never actually said it on the podcast, so I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that
it is confirmed that happens.
That happens.
Wow. Why would you not just keep buying bottles of Parse?
Well, I don't know why. If you don't drink Parse, what I would say is that you then hate the planet, and
especially in these times too. Like, we all need to help the planet out. You know, like
It's true.
it's
a team effort.
You could do. Seriously.
If you're a team Compound, then you're a team Parse. Then you're
if you're team
Planet.
Earth, yeah, team
you're
Planet, team Earth. Right. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
What was that show when we were kids? Captain Planet. Captain Planet drank Parse. I don't know if you knew that about Captain Planet.
I haven't
Yeah,
watched.
I don't
Captain
know what
Planet?
Captain Planet is.
Tom,
No.
Captain Planet.
I think the Happ household. The Happ household was a little bit different than the Shorts.
The Mecca's household was SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob, Rocket Power. You know.
Yeah, you know the
Kinda
good
normal kid thing.
stuff. Cat dog.
Sports Center.
Tom, you got anything on Captain Planet over there?
Yeah, it was on from 1990 to 1990. It was off the air before I was born. It was
96.
came out May 11th, 1996, which is about 6 months before I was born.
Captain
they had a
Planet.
good
Planet
run.
and the Planeteers.
Zach, it's the Planeteers.
That's a sick name.
Hey,
Yeah, I'd
yeah.
love to be one of the Planeteers.
6.7 on IMDb. Not terrible.
It's
Not
not
great, but
bad, dude.
terrible.
IMDb, they got some tough critics. It's not
Captain
bad.
Planet was a pimp. I mean, I wish I could have been on Captain Planet's team.
Captain Pollution was a character.
That's
Duke
rich.
Nukem was a character.
Duke Nukem. I wish my name was Duke Nukem. Imagine how many homers you'd hit if your name was Duke Nukem.
Oh, you'd hit nothing but bombs.
Let's get into it. I have to admit something to the fans, to the listeners and the viewers. I was late today. Okay, I'll own it. We said 7 o'clock. I got a FaceTime from Dakota at 7:07, maybe 7:08. I was nowhere to be found.
The best part is you were just sitting on your couch and you're like, oh, and you probably saw my face and you're like, oh yeah. And then you go, I forgot. I was like, yeah, I mean,
Even when you FaceTime me, I didn't immediately put it together. It's like Dakota's FaceTiming me. Wonder what he's FaceTiming me about.
I'll tell you what, though, there's people out there who wouldn't apologize, and you did. So
Yeah, that's
takes
my
a big
bad.
man.
it's honestly a credit
bad.
to you.
I care about this podcast and I care about your time, and I want to apologize. I was not locked in, but now I'm here and I'm locked.
It's all good, dude.
I
It's all
forget
good, man.
That's how quick I turned it on. I guess.
But before we start, can we just pour one out for Tom?
are you going to actually pour it?
Yeah.
You're not going to pour it. Oh, Fallon's pissed.
Sorry.
All good. It's all good.
It's all good. It's just water. It'll dry.
Tom. Tough.
So I purposely didn't talk about this with either Zach or Dakota while we were waiting because we had to fill a lot of time. Last night, I don't know if you guys know, this is how we watched the game. John Boy Media was hosting a watch party at Torch and Crown here in New York City.
I'm assuming
Great
that's a
time.
restaurant place.
Yeah, it's like a brewery. Great time until it wasn't. Obviously, it was. And all week, I had said to about 3 or 4 different people in my life, I said, I just don't want them to get swept. I said, I just need them to win a game so that Sunday watch party doesn't turn into the worst funeral I've ever been to. And, when people talk about manifesting, I don't know if you guys made, some of you guys made it to the majors. Maybe I don't know if you believe in manifesting. I think I manifested the worst outcome for my life last week by saying that out loud a bunch of times. And then that's exactly what happened last night. Was we were at the watch party and everything went bad and it was very sad and I'm still sad. Yeah, was it not a fun series? I really hate the Astros. And it's tough, to be owned by a team that you hate. They just own me.
There's
That's the
really
worst
no acceptance of the fact that they're a good baseball team either because of what happened a long time ago now. So now it's just pure hatred for Yankees fans, huh?
That's the tough part where it's like, those last few years, like, oh, they cheated. And now it's like, Okay, what else are they doing? They got to be doing something. This team is really good.
Well,
Unfortunately, they're just still a very good baseball team. It's really hard for the Yankees fans.
who's the game 3 starter? What was his name for the Astros?
Javier,
That guy's a cheater.
bro.
Not actually a cheater, but like his fastball is cheating. It's not fair. That's not hittable.
Are you familiar with the plots? Either of you guys?
Yes.
So they have it on the scoreboard there. Not the plots, the metrics at Yankee Stadium. And I was at the game that he threw. His heater was, I want to say 20 inches of vert and like under 6 of horizontal. So that means
it's just
basically
straight
it's like going, if anything, it's going to like cut and rise at the same time, which is like, people on Twitter and watching the game, they're like, oh my God, how are they missing pitches down the middle? And it's like, it's not your average fastball. Like this ball is like appearing like it's down-ish. And then it gets to like you're expecting it to be here, yet it's up here. It's not actually rising. But
I think the easiest way to explain it to fans and people that haven't been in the box is like the fastball at your knees feels like it's at your shins. So like because the angle it comes out of his hands, you feel like it's going to be down below the zone, and it rides like right at the bottom and kind of like sticks at your knees, and it's really hard to pull the trigger on that pitch. And
it's impossible to get to the top.
And then you have to like swing legitimately above the baseball. Bregman talks about it a lot, where he's like, he legitimately thinks about swinging like 2 to 3 baseballs higher than what he sees to keep his bat above it. Because if you chop at it too, or like want to get like on top, that creates even a worse problem because of how hard it is to actually get on plane, and your window becomes even smaller.
Yeah, the ball that's at your belt line or belly button, you really have to feel like you're way above it, because that is the one metrically that has the most vertical break or ride. So that one really jumps. And like dudes like that, that's why they're really effective.
And I sorry to interrupt. I will say like it's very under the radar that the Astros have. So they're 4 guys. They're 2-2. Like one's a lefty sinker, and McCullers a sinker slider, and then you have Javier and Verlander who are riding the ball. So it's not like you're getting the same look every game. You're going back and forth, and where most teams either have one or the other, like they're going to fill their guys with either ride guys or sinker guys. You're getting all these different looks, and it's just not, and that's why they have this much success.
The bullpen's been so effective too. They haven't had to use some of their best arms. Even like Valdez went really deep in the game. They had to cover 2 innings after him. Like everybody's fresh in that pen. They haven't had to go deep in series. Pretty impressive what they're doing right now.
I thought Verlander in game 1, his ability, because I think he was at like 40 pitches after 2 innings, and his ability to get deep into that game and give them some length off the top. I think that was huge for them, because obviously the Yankees, if you're trying to steal a game, what's the game plan? It's knock out someone like Verlander early, get his pitch count up. They did that, and then he responded with some really great middle innings, and that was a game 1 that the Yankees could have. There was a couple games the Yankees felt like they were in and just never got over the hump. Give it credit.
Can I just say something about the Yankee season?
Yeah,
I feel kind of bad. I feel bad that they started I feel bad that they started so hot and people were excited, and then they lost the joy in like June, and then it felt like a grind the rest of the year for the Yankees fans being around the company. I just wish it would have been more fun for the Yankees fans this year. They had a great year. We made it to ALCS. ALCS is a great time.
Isn't it crazy that
didn't turn out great?
Like, I understand, like, you really want to win, you kind of have to go to the World Series, especially in New York. But it's like, if you're a fan of other teams and it's like, yeah, man, we've gone to a lot of CSs, you're going to be pretty happy, right?
It's cool. Watching the playoffs, I think watching it as a player, it's different. It's different as a player, Tom. Different as a player. Watching the playoffs, seeing these guys get to celebrate some series wins, play playoff baseball, celebrate going to the World Series, like, I miss it a lot. I haven't played in the playoff series since 2017. I've played in the wild card twice. One of them was a 3-game series, but like I haven't played in like playoff series baseball, like a 5-game set. we're 7 games set since 2017, and it's different. It's really cool, and I'm jealous of the guys that got to play in those series. And even, we lost in 5 games in the CS, but just being there, being able to pop champagne to get there is cool. So,
I mean, you saw the absence of someone like Scott. I mean, I thought about Scott a couple times when anytime they brought in Clark Schmidt, I just said, man, I really wish this was Scott Efros instead. I don't mean to disrespect Clark Schmidt, but he had a really tough playoffs, and they put him in, I think, to be fair to him, really tough spots. Like they put him in the end of that Cleveland game where he obviously gave up the game-winning hit. He had had, I think, 3 major league saves, and they were all the 3-inning variety. He had never in his life been asked to get 2 major league outs in the 9th inning of a game like that. And then to ask him for the first time in a playoff game in that spot is almost impossible. So, you had guys who were playing out of position, as Waldo Cabrera had never played the outfield until this year, was basically the starting left fielder down the stretch. You're asking a lot of guys to do things that maybe they don't excel in. And I think you saw the byproduct of that at the end there.
I don't know if this is like a knock or like a bad thing, but it's like, obviously, I mean, it's not great, but like I saw it, I don't know who said it. Every day, the Yankees, for the most part in the playoffs, were going to the field, not knowing who's playing shortstop, not knowing who's leading off, and not knowing whatever. And it's like, you still made it to the CS, which, yeah, I understand. But then at the same time, on the other side of it, it's like, why don't we have somebody or people who are staples in this lineup? And I understand you had injuries. You had LeMahieu, you had Benintendi, you had all these other pitchers. But I don't know. I think it's still a feat to go to the CS, be in. I mean, I don't want to hand out participation trophies, but like, a lot of those games they were in all of them.
they were
winnable. They were a few hits, a few errors away from winning at least 1 to 2 of those games. And then that whole, like, I don't know. Like I went to the game the other night, and after they gave up the error and then the homer, felt like the air was out of it. And then when Cole got taken out, if you leave that game, so say Cole stays in and gives up 1 run to make it 3-0, or even gets out of it and still 2-0, and then they get a guy on, that place is bananas, but like a few bad breaks and, a few changes or pitching changes, it just changes the whole series.
It's hard to have enough depth to be as unhealthy as they were. They had a lot of depth, and they had a ton of injuries, and like it's tough. It's tough as an organization or as a big league team to put together enough talent in one place to get through that amount of turnover and that amount of players going down. Like the Astros are healthy. I can't think Brantley's not healthy, but like besides that, the Astros have anybody that's down. Like their starting rotations there. They have, they have the guys that they started the season with.
I mean, injuries are obviously a part of the game, but you mentioned the like Miguel Castro pitched in game 1. He had thrown 2 innings since like July 7th.
That guy's nasty.
I mean, he is nasty, but that's like, again, you're talking about putting guys in really difficult spots. Again, I think you look at Carpenter, and I'd love to ask you guys. This was a discussion internally in the office about how they handled Carpenter down the stretch, that ultimately they were looking to activate him for that finals regular season series against Texas. They decided against it. They kept him in New York for the live ABs. I mean, I'm curious for both Zach and Ian's perspective on this. If you were coming off in that situation, knowing what Carpenter's role was going to be, likely as a pinch hitter, maybe as an occasional DH, would you have rather gotten 12 to 15 at bats in Texas, or would you rather get whatever you get in the live ABs?
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if they kept him in New York because the live ABs was more at bats. Like,
yeah, that probably is. I mean,
if they had enough arms, or they were running him back enough to get like 25 at bats in that stretch where he was getting like 5 a day or maybe more, where he was just like hitting constantly and seeing a bunch of pitches. I mean,
it's tough because it's still not game environment.
It's not game environment. It's personal preference. Like he's been doing it a long time, so like right. I can't say that like I don't know. I've seen Riz come back after some lengthy stretches of being off and just kind of like will kind of off into having great at bats as soon as he comes back. It's not easy.
Yeah, like, and then you're gonna have him pinch hit in huge situations, and it's like, listen, I haven't been in a game. I'm not making excuses, but like, haven't been in a game in months. I haven't had the pressure of feeling a playoff game in I don't know how long. And then it feels like all I have to do is I'm in here to hit a homer. You know, like that's fucking hard.
Really hard.
And to what you said, Tom, about tough situations, like Clark Schmidt, he comes in, I don't know which game it was, gets that huge double play. Like that, you should have pulled the plug right there. It's so hard, Dakota, you know, like you come in, get a good out, huge out, and your adrenaline's so high, and then you have to come back down and then go back out and pitch. It's almost like impossible.
Yeah, I mean it is, but like he just came in and cleaned up that one inning, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think he threw to 3 hitters, right? 2 or 3 hitters.
Yeah, I think it was 3.
But it's also, I feel like it's one like Aaron Boone was probably like, well, I mean, who do we turn it to if we take him out?
Right,
like, you know what I mean? Like if they had a bunch of bullpen arms, yes, get him out. But it's like, who do we go to? It's like, do we trust someone else to come in really?
But it would be a clean inning though, I guess.
Yeah.
True.
Boone was definitely trying to steal a couple outs there. He was trying to see if I could get 3 more outs out of Schmidt. That moves Trevino back an inning, you know, I mean, moves everyone else back 1 more inning when they didn't really have a lot of guys. But obviously, then in retrospect, it's easy to go, why are we having Clark Schmidt, who's basically a rookie, come out for one of the most important innings of the season? You know, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Tom, I need to ask you a question about the Yankees.
Okay.
Besides Aaron Judge, if you can keep one Yankee that is supposed to be leaving or is not guaranteed to come back, if you can keep one, who do you keep?
I would probably keep Rizzo. I think Rizzo possibly opting out would be tough for them. Tyone's the other one that I would think about, but I mean, I don't think you can really. They you know, it's obvious they were outclassed by the Astros. I mean, I think we just have to say, obviously, you can talk about individual games where you're close, but if you get swept like that, you're outclassed. In my,
I would like to see the healthy from the beginning of the year Yankees play the Astros, but regardless.
Well, and that's the other, like Zach said it too. I mean, Benintendi and LeMahieu, like that's huge pieces.
Those are two
that's 2 guys that are like
that you need to move the ball around.
Like that's your leadoff hitter, probably with LeMahieu.
Both of them,
and they were searching for a
might be their 1-2 guys.
Both of them,
like that's 2 big pieces.
Imagine you can have those at the top, and then like somebody like Bader in the 7, 8, 9, who's actually hot,
to turn the lineup over,
just throwing them around.
Yeah,
I think the hard part though is they put themselves in some difficult situations, like the shortstop situation. Why was Peraza not called up until September? Why was Cabrera not called up until the middle of August? They'd obviously, you know, they felt like they had the division clinched. It obviously got a little bit hairy there at the end, but they had a monumental lead in the division. If there's an opportunity to give the young guys a chance, the Yankees didn't take advantage of it. And you see a team like the Astros who gave Jeremy Pena an opportunity at the shortstop as a rookie and what he can do. I'm not saying Oswald Peraza was going to do that. I'm not saying Oswaldo Cabrera was going to do that, but not giving those guys a full runway to give them a full opportunity to gear up for the playoffs, I think was a real mistake, because then when you wanted to take Kiner Falefa out after his miscues, you're either left with a rookie who barely played at shortstop or a rookie who only played about 15 major league games before the end of the regular season.
And you look at a team like the Guardians, and it's like, hey, this guy's hot, bring him up, you know, and like what we've talked about for so long, it feels like the more you get reps in games, especially with your guys out there with you, like you're going to be comfortable. You're going to be okay if you have to go and pinch hit or be a defensive replacement in the 8th, 9th inning of a playoff game. It's just going to be that much more comfortable, in my opinion.
Those kids did a great job at shortstop, though.
Awesome job. Absolute, like stone cold.
It's a very ironic. It ends on that play, or at least the play that probably cost them the game is that flip from Torres to Kiner Falefa, because that goes down as an E4. But I think a lot of people, I'll be perfectly honest with my bias. I'm not a Isaiah Kiner Falefa fan on the Yankees, you know, as just as a player. Don't think it was a good move at the time. Don't think it worked out. And that's a play where he doesn't even get the error, but someone like myself feels like that's his fault. You know, he should have been there to catch it, should have at least knocked it down. But if there's a lot of defenders of him, those people would say it's an E4, you know, Glaber made the error. And so it's very ironic the season ends on this play where you could blame two different guys and not really, and you could argue to the end of time about whose fault it is. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Wait, what you say, Dakota?
Well, I was going to ask you because to me it was both. Glaber Pena was hitting obviously, and he flies, so he was getting it out quick. So he just like fielded it, scooped it, threw it. But Falefa kind of came flying to the backside of the base, and he threw it to the front side. So I'm curious who you think
I didn't get
should have done it different.
The angle of the replay is tough because you don't really see where it crosses. But my thing, I was telling somebody, like, that's a hard one for both guys. So like you said, Pena's running. You kind of need a double play there. Like, yeah, obviously you get one out. That's the worst thing that happens. But I was saying, if you know as a shortstop that, hey, we got to go on this transfer here, and like it's up to me if we get this double play or not with how quickly I throw it or how quickly I have the exchange, you're just like subconsciously going to come crashing across the base because you want your momentum going. You want to have everything behind the throw. And you know, it sucks that it happened.
Isn't it one where you'd run to the backside or like outside of the base? Because if you run to the inside, like he's got to come.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he's not going to field it, stop and throw. Like he's got to do it on the run.
So if that ball is smoked at Glaber and they have all the time in the world, I think IKF is way more under control. He doesn't feel like that he has to panic and run, because I've been there where it's like you're like, oh my God, fuck. Like you're just praying that you catch the ball or get a glove on it at least. And now, like, it's
righty hitting, he's probably playing a little bit more pull side. He's probably got a long way to go to get there.
100%. It's tough because you're, like you said, Hat, that's a great point. Like you're sprinting over there. It's not the old double play depth where it's right off the pitcher's mound. You're probably in a shift. At least every right-handed hitter, except for probably Gurriel, is in a plus where it's a pull plus. You're sprinting over there. You know you have to go, and if that feed isn't perfect, you're in trouble. And it wasn't, and that's what happened.
Let me change the subject just a hair. Zach, do you ever think about the fact that the runner used to be able to slide to either side of the base and murder you?
Bro,
on that play with the runner bearing down, like you could have had the second baseman trying to flip it to the inside to keep you away from the runner. You ever think about that?
Dude,
I forget about that.
It happened in
infield,
literally the last week of the year. I said to somebody, and I forgot who, I was like, wow, I feel so protected at second base, and I could not imagine what it felt like with those guys just going in past the bag, like starting their slide at the bag. Like that, that's insane. B, like 3 feet to either line, like it's a different world. It's a different game where, like, I don't know if I was in the shift or it was a really close play at second and the guy just went straight into the bag, and I turned to second base and I was like, could you imagine if he just blew me up there? Like
I would. It was
6 years ago, 8 years ago, before the Tejada play. Like that's fine. Go ahead, blow him up.
I'm pretty sure the rule came in my first year. I'm pretty sure 17 was the first year of it.
15 was when Tejada got blown up by Utley.
Yeah, it could have been 16, but I think it was 17 was the first year of the rule, and so I never got to experience that at the big league level. Plus, especially playing middle infield, but like there were definitely some old school dudes at the time too who like tried to skirt the rules. And like now nobody's coming in crazy, but like at that time when the rule just went in, like there was guys kind of trying to see how far they could stretch it. And I remember having to get up over some guys, but not like when I was in my first year in the minor leagues, you could still do it. My first year in the minor leagues, you could still do it, and it was like, get the fuck out of the way.
No, and we were taught, like I remember coming up, like with the Cubs in 16, like when, or even in like you said in 17, like spring training, we're taught like, hey, you better get your foot planted in this one way, so it kind of
they don't
react. Right, it reacts as like a door where it's just like you hit it and it goes, opposed to like, if your foot is sideways, your knee is toast.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, yeah, man, just kind of get outside the baseline. And if the guy goes into you, like that's shitty luck, but you'll be protected.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it's so funny you say that because it came up towards the end of the year and I was just like, wow, could you imagine just getting absolutely murdered at second base?
Nope.
Even the catchers too.
and having your teammates piss at you if you didn't absolutely annihilate somebody on the other team.
Yeah, like, hey man, you got to go in hard there. We got to
kill him.
Play.
You didn't kill him.
You got to break up a double play, and you're probably going to get hit your next AB.
Yeah. Let's pause for station identification. Now, word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. It's the first time we're talking about BetterHelp. And more athletes are speaking out about mental health these days. I've actually spoken out about mental health for years now and how it's very important to take care of your own mental health and well-being, whether you're an athlete or not. And therapy is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to do it. I like meditation. I like therapy. Been doing therapy for years. And I think that it's something that everyone can benefit from. And if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp, great option. Convenient, accessible, affordable, entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime. When you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/compound today. 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/compound. You guys have anything to say about BetterHelp?
I think you did great, Ian.
Hey, thanks,
Very
guys.
well put.